So welcome back. So let's continue with cell and its environment. Cell and its environment. So here, now you know what a cell is, right? But we're talking about what is happening around a cell. What are those activities that are taking place around a cell? Okay, the environment of the cell is its total surrounding. Unicellular organisms such as amoeba are surrounded by the medium in which they live. For example, water, air, or even soil. Now, but in multicellular organisms, each cell is surrounded by other cells and some tissues. Pay attention. When I said unicellular, I said they are surrounded by what? The medium in which they live. That is because amoeba is a single-celled organism. I am standing here, I am a cell, but inside me, I have more cells. I have millions of cells inside me. Now, the point is, each of them is surrounded by other cells. And that is what we put here. I said, in multicellular organism, each cell is surrounded by other cells and some tissues. So a cell exchanges the following materials with its environment. There's bound to be an exchange if the cell is going to survive, because it would have to get rid of some waste and also absorb some things inside if the cell is going to survive. Okay, so now let's look at some of the materials that are being exchanged with the cell and its environment. We have food materials, we have water, we have gaseous or gases rather, such as oxygen and carbon dioxide. We also have excretory products. Okay, now, but we have some processes that facilitate all these exchanges. Now, there are some processes that facilitate that these materials are going out and some of them are coming in. So I believe you must have done that. Those processes include osmosis, we have diffusion, and we have active transport. Osmosis, diffusion, and active transport. Okay, so let's look at them. Now let's look at diffusion. It is the movement of water molecules, the movement of molecules from an area in which they are highly concentrated to the area in which they are less concentrated. Please stay with me. What do I mean by that? Something diffuses if it is moving from a place where it is plenty to a place where it is little. For example, if you take candy and you drop the candy inside water, it begins to diffuse. Then after a while, you discover that you don't even get to see the candy at all, but the color of the water would have changed. That is diffusion. So it has diffused from an area of high concentration when it was just dropped inside the water to an area of what? Low concentration after it has what? Diffused. Okay, so diffusion is also the process by which molecules of substances such as liquid and gases move randomly from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration until equilibrium is attained. What do I mean by that? The diffusion stops when equilibrium is attained. That means the concentration is now the same thing. That's why I said in the example I gave you, example of candy, after it has diffused, it got to a point, it stopped diffusing. You guys, because there's nothing left there. Now the solution is said to be even, because now you have the same concentration of candy across the entire liquid. Okay, so let's look at this. Now let's look at this diagram that we have here. Initially, let's say this is the water molecule. This is what you are trying to diffuse. It has started diffusing here, but it has not completely diffused. But look at it here now. So at this stage, it is said to be even. So it is said to have reached what? Equilibrium state. So diffusion is no longer taking place, but it is still taking place here. It just started taking place here. That is it. That's diffusion. For example, if in the class, let's say you're spraying, let's say you're wearing a cologne now. After a while, you yourself, you don't get to feel it again, but the people around you will still be feeling it because you are now completely immersed in it. Okay, so let's move on. So factors that affect the diffusion of substances. Factors that affect the rate of diffusion. Okay, we have the surface area. What do I mean by that? If you have, let's say you have a bowl that is this big, and you have something like this. Okay, if you put the same, let's say you put 50 cm cube of water, and you put the same 50 cm cube of water here, then you drop the same amount of candy inside there. the same amount of candy inside the two of them, it will diffuse faster here. Why? Because of the large surface area that's available here than what you have here. Okay, then we have temperature. Temperature. Okay, no, so let's say you have the same beaker, right? And you put the same quantity of water inside 2 beakers. Let's now say that one of the water is like 50 degrees C, while the other one is 4 degrees C. If you put the same quantity of candy, the 50 degrees C will diffuse faster because of the temperature of the water inside it. Then we have the size of the molecules that are trying to diffuse. 1 candy, 2 candy, the same quantity of water. Of course, 1 candy will diffuse faster than 2 candy. Then we have presence of concentration gradient. Presence of concentration gradient. Now let's take, for instance, if you have, let's say you have 2 beakers, right? And you have put the same quantity of water inside them. Now, if you are adding water again to water, there's not going to be any diffusion because there's no concentration gradient. You get my point? But if you, let's say you are taking a soft drink, like you are taking an orange juice, and you're now pouring it inside water, diffusion will take place because concentration gradient is there. It's not the same thing. Concentration gradient, concentration in water and that of the orange juice, it's not going to be the same. So diffusion is bound to happen. Why? Because the 2 liquids do not have the same concentration. Then we have state or nature of the diffusing substance. State or nature of the diffusing substance. You are diffusing solid, you want to diffuse liquid too. They tend to diffuse at different rates. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on, please. Okay, so now what we have here is osmosis. Now, water moves from a high concentration of water, that is less salt or sugar dissolved in it, to a low concentration of water, which is more salt or sugar dissolved in it. This means that water would cross a selectively permeable membrane from a dilute solution, which is less dissolved in it, to a concentrated solution, which is more dissolved in it. Can I explain this? Okay, let's look at it now. I hope you can see this diagram. Now, we have the extracellular space, we have the cytosol. Now, in this case of osmosis, we have different types of solution. We have 3 types of solution. I hope I can put that here. We have what we call the hypotonic solution. We have what we call the hypertonic solution. Then we have what we call the isotonic solution. Now, stay with me, please. Stay with me. Of course, I've told you that there's going to be movement of water, right? There's going to be movement of water. Now, in this case, when a cell is placed in an hypotonic solution, hypo means low, hyper means high. So if you place a cell in a solution that is having lower concentration, let's look at it here. Now, so look at this is hypotonic solution here now, right? So what will happen? Water will move from here to this place because there's supposed to be a balance at the end of the day. Water will move from this solution, this place to this other one here. Then in the case of hypertonic solution, can you see that water will always move from a place that is less concentrated. If it is less concentrated, it means it has a higher amount of water. And that water is what we need to balance up the other cell, the other environment, the other medium, the other solution. Which is why it will move from here into the one that has what? That's having more, that's highly concentrated, because this guy needs to be balanced. This guy needs to be balanced. So water comes here. Then the same thing happens here. You can see this one has more water. So the more water inside it is moving to the other part. Then in the case of this, 2 of them have equal concentration. So it is said to be isotonic solution. So what do I mean by that? In the case of isotonic solution, there's what we call no net movement because they both have the same concentration. Are you getting my point now? But in this case too now, there's movement. But in the case of isotonic solution, there is no movement. Why? Because both the cell and the environment are having equal concentration. Okay, so let's look at this. Now, the solution that loses water in osmosis is said to be hypotonic. I think you need to keep that. The solution that loses water in osmosis is isotonic. Now, it's said to be hypotonic rather, which is the part that is having lesser concentration. Then the solution that gains water is said to be what? Hypertonic. So when a state of equilibrium is attained, the solution is said to be isotonic, and there is neither gain nor loss of water, because the two of them now have the same concentration. Okay, so let's move on. Let's look at the differences between osmosis and diffusion. Okay, in the case of diffusion, it involves the movement of molecules of gases, liquid, and solid. But in the case of osmosis, pay attention, it involves the movement of what? Water molecules alone. Osmosis has to do with water molecule. But in the case of diffusion, it can be gas, it can be liquid, it can be solid. Now, diffusion now does not need a semi-permeable membrane. It doesn't need a membrane, but osmosis does. Are you there? Osmosis does. There is need for a semi-permeable membrane in osmosis. Then diffusion, molecules diffuse into any available space. Any space that is available, you see the molecules going into it. But in the case of osmosis, molecules move between two solutions of different concentrations. They move between two solutions of what? Different concentration to achieve equilibrium. Pay attention. The ultimate aim for these two processes is that equilibrium should be attained. Equilibrium must be attained in the two of them. Okay, so let's move on. So let's look at some of the questions that we have here. Now, the steady spread of unpleasant odor from dead rats is a physical process called what? Cyclosis, diffusion, osmosis, and plasmolysis. Now, let's look at this. I can take out two of the options and leave you with two. Let's say we have diffusion and osmosis. The two of them involve the movement, right? But I told you that osmosis has to do with what? Water. So our answer is B, diffusion. Okay, so let's move to the next question. Which of the following uses diffusion as the principal method of gaseous exchange? Pay attention, there are some organisms, like unicellular organisms majorly, that their only means of gaseous exchange is through diffusion. You get it? It's through diffusion. Why? Because they are not complex. They don't have machineries to carry out the kind of respiration that other higher animals do. So let's look at it. We have grasshopper, we have rat, we have lizard, we have earthworm. So what do you think will be the answer? Our answer is D, earthworm. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, question 3. Which of the following statement is not true of osmotic pressure? Which of the following statement is not true of osmotic pressure? Now, there must be a selectively permeable membrane. They said it's not true. That means out of the 4, 3 should be correct and 1 should be wrong. Okay. There must be a selective permeable membrane. The two solutions must be of different concentration. This is correct too. Now, then C. The two solutions are of equal concentration at the start. If they are of equal concentration at the start, there's never going to be any movement. There won't be any movement. So let's look at option D. It involves only the movement of water molecules. That is also osmosis. So what should be the answer? Our answer is C. Our answer is C. So let's see. Yes, we are correct. The two solutions are of equal concentrations at the start of the experiment. Okay, so let's look at this one. In which of the following YAM TUs will osmosis occur? So let's look at it. Of course, YAM is a semi-permeable membrane. You may try this at home. Is that clear? You may try this at home, do the experiment, just get a bowl, fill it with water. Fill it with water. Now get YAM, cut it like this. This is water, right? Then put salt here. Let's say this is salt solution, add little water and leave it. Now it is expected that the water here moves. That means the level of the solution in the salt, in the YAM is expected to rise at the end of the experiment. So let's see, what should be the answer? Option A, boiled and peeled. For the fact that your YAM is boiled, it's not going to move. You have spoiled it. Then option B, raw and peeled. Yes, I will go with B, raw and peeled. But let's see option C, boiled also and unpeeled. No. Option D, roasted. No. So our answer is B. It should be raw and it must be peeled. So you know what you're supposed to do when you're trying your own experiment at home. But of course, you need to give it time. It's not that you will just stay there and be expecting the water to be gushing through the central membrane. No, it doesn't work like that. It takes time. But it will definitely work. Now, number 5. Which of the following substances pass through the root cell membrane by osmosis? Pass through the root cell membrane by osmosis. We have water, we have cell sap, we have carbon dioxide, we have oxygen. This is very simple. So what will be the answer? Our answer is water. Okay. Now, question 6. The following are factors that affect the rate of diffusion except, I told you, we did that. What are the factors that affect the rate of diffusion? The state of matter is there, the size of the molecule is there, we have temperature too, but light doesn't really have any effect on diffusion. So our answer is D. Okay, yeah, that's good. So let's move on. The movement of substances by diffusion stops when, can anybody tell me what the answer should be? The movement of substances by diffusion stops when everything is balanced, when there is no longer concentration gradient, when what you have here equals what you have here, and you can say that you have reached what? Isotonic level. Okay, so let's see. There is uniformity in the concentration gradient, there is high temperature, the concentration gradient is higher on one side, the molecular size is large. My answer here is A. Yes, there is uniformity in the concentration gradient. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, we'll go for a short break now. Then when we come back, we'll continue with this.